Good morning, y'all. I'm coming to you from the beautiful crystal clear waters of Skiatook Lake once again. This morning is nice and foggy and overcast and relatively cool. Water temps are at 78, so not super cool, but cool enough to hopefully promote some fish activity. I've got a meeting this afternoon with another mechanic shop, and he also has a boat, and I said, let's meet out on the lake. So he's gonna come out here later on. He's gonna meet me out here on the lake. We're gonna probably have our business meeting over on the island over there. Makes perfect sense. He's got a new scheduling system, neither here nor there, but I gotta figure it out. I'm seeing stuff hit the top of the water, so I gotta get a pole in the water. This is a nice break. Right now I'm in the middle of doing a whole lot of work to the new land, and you guys will see a video on that sometime coming in the near future. I'm not quite made enough progress on it to really get you guys a very before and after kind of perspective. So without further ado, let me grab my pole and let me throw some tasty lures out there for hopefully some tasty fish. Is really scooting along now. I don't know if I've mentioned to you folks about my recent I guess you would say upgrade to my trolling motor. I was a complete doofus, and I had my trolling motor wired up in 12 volt, and in my defense, most of the trolling motors that I've used in the past have been 12 volt trolling motors. Not that I didn't know the existence of 24 volt motors, but one day a few weeks ago, I was putting the boat up, and I was standing in front of the boat, and the trolling motor was put up, and on the bottom side of that motor, it says DC voltage, or voltage, DC 24 volts. And so I'm like, are you kidding me? This entire time I've been running on half the voltage that it could be running on. So this dummy wired it up right and set it up 24 volts. So now I've actually got plenty enough power to fight a current or some wind with the trolling motor. All this time I've been thinking I had a old outdated low powered trolling motor, and was thinking, man, I gotta get me a new one that's got more power, more kick to it, but they're expensive, and so that's gonna have to wait. And so until then, I'll just be slow on the trolling motor. And then fortunately I glanced at the motor and discovered it's 24 volts, and it's just a matter of switching some wires around, and now I've got a trolling motor that's got twice the power at least. I'm an idiot. I'm dumb. I don't know why I was running it that way, like some sort of freaking doofus. Boy, it's been a tough morning. Can't seem to even get nibbles right now. I don't know what the deal is. A pair of boaters, or fishermen on a boat passed by, and they said they haven't caught a thing this morning. Just been a tough morning. And I want to talk to you guys about a little bit, just touch on for a few moments. You know, you're not going to see a more dedicated group of individuals whenever it comes to wildlife conservation, honestly, whenever it comes to outdoorsmen in general, fishermen, hunters, and generally speaking, most people who are fishermen, they're also typically hunters. They get a bad rap, honestly. You get like the Hollywood stereotype that hunters are like just sitting around a rusty old pickup truck drinking Bud Light and shooting 30-06s out at the deer in the headlights and stuff. And that's not the case, honestly. The vast majority of hunters and fishermen genuinely do care about the wildlife. There's no larger source of funding from a single group of people than outdoorsmen. And when I say outdoorsmen, that means women too, you know, obviously. Your hunters and your anglers give the most in environmental conservation for wildlife. Because every time you buy anything hunting related, guns and ammo, and there's a tax that goes to a federal wildlife management fund. And we're not talking small potatoes either. We're talking millions, if not like hundreds of millions of dollars get generated from the purchase of hunting license, fishing license, the tax that is on your guns, your ammo, your hunting gear. But it's not just the money. It's also like, you'll see fishermen out, picking up trash and stuff in the waters. You'll see hunters out in the woods when they're scouting for deer, cleaning up stuff, generally practicing good wildlife management strategies. There are some people that perhaps their main motivation for managing the wildlife is just to be able to catch bigger fish, or get bigger deer with bigger antlers, and what you would call trophy hunters, if you will. But the reality is whatever the motivation, the end goal ends up being the same, and that is a better environment, better ecosystem for the animals for which these hunters and anglers are targeting. And so, most of you who are watching this, you're probably already aware of this fact, because you are likely a hunter or an angler yourself, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're new to it, or maybe you're trying to wrap your head around the idea. You're thinking, well, I really love animals and I like conservation, but I just can't see hunting them or fishing for them for sport. And the reality is most people aren't doing it for sport. A lot of people are doing it to put food on the tables. A lot of people are doing it for genuine care of the environment and the ecosystem in which these animals live in. And that's been the vast majority of outdoorsmen and sportsmen, hunters and anglers alike, that I come across and meet and know. And it's people who have a genuine care for taking care of the environment. So, the next time that you have your vegan friend tell you, well, I just don't like the idea of harming an innocent animal, well, nature's rough. Nature is hard. If it's not me snagging a white bass to put in the fryer, it's another fish like a gar coming up to munch on that sucker. These things, it's a fish eat fish world out here. And then when it comes to hunting, deer, if they don't get managed by hunting, they will either die from predation or disease. And neither of those scenarios are good. Like they're not desirable for the deer. You'll see no other group of activists doing as much for the environment as hunters and anglers. And we have all of this beautiful public space, public land, and public resource. The animals are a resource, and it has to be managed one way or another. And to be honest with you, it's a small section of the population, hunters, anglers, and wildlife departments that are doing it. So just keep that in mind. The next time that you think about, man, I got to spend $25 to get a fishing license or whatever, I'll gladly pay the money to get a fishing license, to get a hunting license. I will pay that. Have no problem whatsoever spending that money. That's a small ticket to purchase to guarantee that this beautiful public resource is maintained and managed appropriately and doesn't turn into a trash pit. I genuinely care about the environment and the public resources that we have, like this beautiful lake, all of the public land around it, the fish that are in this lake, the deer that are roaming around out here that are available to harvest. I don't just do this as a pastime, as a leisurely hobby, though it is very, very enjoyable. I also do this because I genuinely care about the environment, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, you're seeing this on YouTube. The more people that I can get interested in hunting and angling, the better it is for the environment, because we'll have more people sharing the load, taking care of the environment, spending the money and getting funding to wildlife departments so that we can, you know, manage these ecosystems and these animals and this wonderful, beautiful public natural resource that we've got in just across this nation. America is a unique place in that we have so much public land. We have so many public resources in comparison to the rest of the world, where stuff like this just does not exist in most places in the world. So that's just my little rant out here on the lake this morning as I stand out here alone, just me and the vultures. There's vultures circling up ahead, just out here fishing away. Oh, raccoon. Oh, raccoon and her baby. Well, not impossible, but mildly uncommon to see a raccoon out in the daytime. And she's got her little guy with them. Just hanging out by the bank. That's always neat. You get to see a little bit of nature. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, I was looking for fish. Right hit, but I got something. Oh, my drag was set too loose. Come on, baby. Woo, yeah. I was expecting a crappie, but come on, guy. Ooh, you're stout though. Oh, you're fat. Short and fat. Oh, you're a feisty guy. You, goodness gracious, guy. Goodness gracious, calm down. Let me get the hook out of your mouth, all right? Well, day was not all lost. Oh, you're deep. You're hooked deep. Caught him on the rattling Ned. I was starting to think maybe they don't want something too big. Maybe I ought to just find one of these pieces of standing timber and you know, throw a smaller snack down there on a smaller hook, slightly lighter setup, and you know, look where the rattling Ned dragged in. You are a beautiful fish. You're pretty and you're healthy, stout, thick. Oh, and you are, my friend, a keeper. Oh, goodness gracious. Woo! Goodness, guy. Beautiful fish. Caught him on the little rattling Ned on a real little hook. And almost, I mean, he was in probably 25 feet of water. Down at the bottom. It seemed like the moment that this lure floated its way down to the bottom is when he hooked up on it. He was a light hit, and then he just kind of held on to it. I could just barely feel it. That's kind of one of the reasons why I switched over to a slightly lighter rod and a slightly lighter setup, though this line is a pretty stout setup. It's like 50-pound braid, but that's just what I had when I was pulling this thing up. And I feel like there's probably more stacked up on these standing timbers, so we're gonna get back on in there, let this guy fall on down and maybe find some bigger ones. But I mean, he's you know, keeper size. He's 14 inches, so now it's just a matter of getting this very light setup down there. And I've got it wacky rigged, which is not typically how you rig a rattling Ned. It's usually going to be set up on a Ned rig. That's generally how you do it. But since it's so light, that he hits so light, I'm gonna keep my hand or my finger right here on the line so I can feel a little bit better. This rod's real good. It's an Ugly Stick GX2, medium action. And so it's got this flex tip on it, so it lets you feel some pretty light action. And this braid has no give to it, so you'll feel almost just about everything. You'll feel it for sure. I like this Rattlin' Ned's color. It's pretty cool, and it's already a small. It's got a little rattler in it, so that's kind of an additional kind of fish attractant. And it's one of the reasons why, because my other bigger casting rods, they're medium heavy, so they're a little bit heavier action. So switched over to this lighter spinning reel. Well, this this rod is not a spinning rod. It's just a spare rod that I had, and got this Shakespeare reel. Oh, we got one. Oh, it's a better one. Oh, come on, stay on. Oh no, it's not a better one. Oh my goodness, it's just an aggressive little bass. Goodness gracious, you. Look at you, you little monster. You bent my pole in half. And you got my Rattlin' Ned guy. Goodness gracious. You little booger. You are aggressive. Can you believe the size of this guy? I'm sure you guys saw it. I'm sure you saw him bite my rod or bend my rod in half like that. I mean, I know it's a lighter action, so maybe I'm just used to the slightly heavier rod because I haven't really fished with this rod in a while. But goodness gracious, he was a fighter. Look at you, you glorious little guy. You go, whoa, oh, he did a little trick for us. You go on and you go get bigger. How about that, little buddy? Now we got some blood in the water. We got it chummed. Gotta grab another Rattlin' Ned. Rig up and get back in the water. This is a good spot. I like it. Oh, I've come loose off my anchor point. What I've done here is I found a branch that is just under the water that runs kind of horizontally. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think you guys might be able to see it in there. And I just kind of pilot it over and let my trolling motor hook on it, and I'm basically using my trolling motor as an anchor. And the wind is blowing straight at us, as I'm sure you can hear by the horrendous audio I'm sure that we're putting out right now. This is the redneck version of spot lock, considering I don't have those fancy $4,000 trolling motor paired with the Garmin GPS nonsense that lets you hold it in place just by clicking a button. This is my redneck version of spot lock. It's called a motor guide and a tree branch in the middle of the lake. And there's some other fishermen across the way that I'm sure they think I'm probably a crazy person, because no doubt they can hear me over here talking to myself, and I doubt that they can see that I have a camera on me. So they probably think I'm just a crazy person right now. So I'm gonna shut up and get back to fishing. I mean, we're in 25 feet of water. It is the middle of the day. I mean, we're talking, it is 12:30, I think, 12:45, so high sun, warmer temps, and so it's typically about that time that most bass fishermen would have long packed it up and called it a day, because they'd say, you know, it's too hot and sun's too high. But what it is bass don't stop eating. Well, I mean, they're not really actively feeding at this time of day, but you know, you drop a little snack in front of their face, they might go for it. And they're going to be in deeper water with this water temp being 82 degrees. 82 degrees is, you know, pretty warm, so they're going to be down deeper where it's a little bit cooler. Well, I did. It was a subcontractor of mine came out to meet me out on the lake, and you guys just saw us just a few moments ago ripping around on his boat, and then that was the plan. He just got that boat not that long ago, and then we were going to go back, and I was going to go back to my boat. We were going to do some fishing around the island. Well, while we were ripping around on the boat, he sprung a fuel leak, and we were in the middle of the lake. Fortunately, we were able to baby the boat back to the island where my boat was, and we found the leak, but we didn't have hardly any tools. But fortunately, I'm a mechanic, so is he. My business, I'm a mobile mechanic, so I carry all of my tools in my truck. So I just got back to the truck on my boat. I'm gonna grab my tools, load them up on my boat, zip back across the lake. He's out in the middle of the lake now on an island, and we're gonna try and repair the boat there because it got super windy and very choppy. So towing the boat back is kind of the last option. Like, we'd rather not do that as windy as it is. So I'm gonna grab some tools, and we're gonna get over there and start mechanicking and get his boat back up and running so we can get it across the lake. Now the boat's working again. Not 100% certain what we did to fix it, but we think it fixed itself.
I feel good.
Well, we'll say that we fixed it. Makes us feel good and justifies me bringing my tools all the way out here.
You can officially call this a business trip now.
Yeah, we can officially call it a business trip. Not only did we have a business meeting, but we did repairs whilst on an island. That's the first time I've done mechanic work on an island, I'm pretty sure. Frank's playing tug of war with the jet drive. I don't know if Frank is winning or not. Turns out we didn't fix it. Well, we sort of improved it. We made your boat a jet drive. We just had to install a jet boat.
Install a Frank.
Yeah.
Frank on a rope.
We got a bow mounted jet drive is what we've got. Back over to the island where my tools are. I thought better about getting in the boat, but Kenneth convinced me.
You're gonna be getting in the boat again.
He convinced me. Am I? I don't. Fool me once. I mean, shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me. Wait, fool me 3 times. Well, you can't fool me again. That's a quote from George W. right there.
You know the funny thing? I drove this thing all over Skiatook Lake 3 days ago. For almost 2 hours. No problems.
I think the carbs just need to be cleaned out.
Dad!
Oh, Frank. We need to tie it off. Well, it's sort of working. Going about 6 miles an hour at wide open throttle, but at least it's going on its own power. So we're getting back over the boat ramp, and we got, since we got towed back over to the island, I've got my boat just in case, and we'll get them back over to the boat ramp and probably have to take those carburetors apart and get it cleaned up. But on the upside it runs, and it runs under its own power. He's really scooting along. All right, well, that concludes our day, our adventure. I call it a successful day, honestly, even though we had some hiccups. We ended up getting Kenneth back to the boat ramp. His boat ran under its own power all the way, albeit wide open throttle, only 6 miles an hour. But he made it there. We got it loaded up. And I'd say relatively successful day. We found some bass, even though the water temp is like 82 degrees, so it was a little bit warmer. Just had to fish a whole lot deeper and give them a smaller, lighter snack. We're going to be this weekend finishing up some work out on the land. I got a little bit of video, so you guys should see a video very soon about the new land. We're getting it ready, getting all the yard work and stuff done to get ready for animals. I hope you guys enjoyed this misadventure that we've had. Go ahead and leave a comment down below, if you want to see some more lake fishing. I'm not going to be fishing Skiatook Lake too much because in the near future, because once we move, this lake will be quite the distance from me. So I'm trying to get as much fishing as I can in this Skiatook Lake before we head out. Before we move, we'll be moving real close to Lake Eufaula, so we'll only be minutes away from there, so we'll get to see a lot of that. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss any videos. If you're not already subscribed, just hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It costs you nothing. It's free. You just hit that button. That's it. That's all you have to do. And we will see you all on the next fishing adventure.